Doom scrolling just might be the modern Oxycontin epidemic.
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, these are weaponized. You have social statisticians and scientists and researchers and people in lab coats, literally best minds of our generation, figuring out how to addict you to the news.
Yes.
And if you fall for it, if you get addicted, your brain will get destroyed. And I think this is the modern struggle. Look at how it happens. Social media, they've massaged all the mechanisms to addict you, like a Skinner's pigeon or a rat. Video games, another way to addict people. So you have entire large factories of people that are working to addict you to these things, and you stand alone. So the modern struggle as an individual is learning how to resist these things in the first place, drawing your own boundaries, and there's no one there to help you.
Except for me. I'm gonna help you, and no, I'm not gonna just tell you to do another 30-day detox. While I do agree that taking a detox is a great starting point, I think we can all agree that it's not the best long-term solution. But trust me, I do get the temptation to just remove social media completely. I can certainly say that during times when social media doesn't have power over me, music sounds better, books are more enjoyable to read, work tasks are more approachable, conversations with friends are more meaningful, Andrew Huberman podcasts make more sense, and overall I just feel like a kid again. I can enjoy the birds chirping, walk through nature without music or a podcast, just simply being. For you millennials out there, thank God we still had that moment in our childhood where we could enjoy life without social media. But the biggest hack when social media doesn't have power over you is that feeling you get when you're in a deep flow with work. That sense of satisfaction you feel after being locked in. That feeling surmounts any feeling from a reel or a video on the For You page. And the best part is that you just feel like you have so much more time in a day because you're not just sitting there wasting all your time doom scrolling away on social media. And when you actually have a grip on your social media and you're not prone to all these flashy objects, it's in these moments that you start to realize how much time you've wasted on social media. But be careful, because it's usually at this point that I start chastising social media and blaming Silicon Valley for all of my problems. Over there exploiting our psychological tendencies for profit. We all know that social media is addicting as fuck. So is cocaine, heroin, alcohol, and many other drugs. But here's the reason why I don't believe that doing a detox is the best long-term solution. The difference between social media and drugs is that there is actually an upside to social media, especially if you're an artist, a creator, or a business owner, because you can attract clients for your business, build a brand sharing your best work, connect with other like-minded individuals, and make a huge impact, leaving your mark on the world, to say the very least. I'll tell you one thing. After making last week's video and reflecting on 2024, I sure as hell realized that I wasted a lot of time, energy, and potential just doom scrolling my life away. But going into this year, it's just not gonna happen. I'm not gonna allow it. I'm done blaming the platforms. I'm done blaming my slow ass MacBook that overheats anytime I open Final Cut Pro. And I'm done blaming it on the device that has brought so many beautiful opportunities into my life. By the way, can you see me on there? Whoa, it's turning into Inception, isn't it? If I keep blaming social media and Silicon Valley and everyone else for my problems, I'll be no different than the 6-year-old man who's bitter as fuck about his miserable life and lack of ownership. You must take personal responsibility. You cannot change the circumstances, the seasons, or the wind, but you can change yourself, which in this case, most of us can't change social media. We can only change ourselves. So maybe, just maybe, we'd benefit from reframing our relationship with social media instead of blaming it for all of our problems and trying to remove it completely. You know, like have social media work with us instead of against us. The best way I can try to explain this example is I'm reading this book called The Sixth Vital Sign, I believe it's called, by Mike. Ooh, let me look this up. So it's actually called The Fifth Vital by Mike Majlak, I think is how you pronounce him. You guys might know this guy. This is a phenomenal book about his experience becoming addicted to Oxycontin, going through the epidemic, becoming addicted to cocaine and heroin and alcohol, and his process of overcoming that addiction. One of the things that they suggest in therapy or recovery is to remove your exposure to the temptation of cocaine. So for example, let's say somebody's inviting you to a party. Maybe it's a good idea to not go to that party because you'll be tempted to take a line of cocaine. However, I think the position of strength is to be able to say, yeah, I'll go to that party and be surrounded by the temptation, and still have so much willpower and a bigger purpose that keeps you from falling back into the trap of addiction? What if you're at a networking party and it's somewhere you don't even expect for there to be cocaine? Somebody randomly, just out of nowhere, just pulls it out. What are you going to do in that moment? Hopefully you're getting the gist of where I'm going with this. The moment you take responsibility for everything in your life is the moment you can change anything in your life. I know we're only a few weeks into the new year, but I've made some changes over the last couple weeks, and it has made such a huge impact on me already. I'm making these videos again. I'm finally enjoying the process of producing music, and I actually feel satisfied at the end of the day, knowing I protected my energy and worked on things that matter to me. But in order for me to do this, I had to face the harsh truth that I was definitely addicted to social media and had no boundaries whatsoever. And by doing so, it enabled me to come up with a plan to actually make a difference, to actually keep me away from doom scrolling, not even have the desire. I mean, isn't it crazy that we've been somehow convinced that likes, comments, shares, DMs, and big flashy red icons are somehow more meaningful or exciting than actually being in a deep flow, doing something that lights us up and makes us feel satisfied after doing it? Keyword after. The irony of that has been definitely boiling in my mind lately. But most of all, the best thing about what I'm going to share with you in this video is that the feeling of self-growth starts to snowball. It feels better and better and better as you continue on your path, you stay in alignment, and you avoid distractions. You start to build momentum. The desire to open social media will have less and less power over you, and you'll begin to have so many unique and inspiring ideas flow through you like a faucet that just got unclogged. In other words, the I'm addicted to social media game turns into how much better can I get in my craft game? That's the key. I want you to work on things that light you up, put you in a state of deep flow and presence, and will leave you with a deep sense of satisfaction at the end of the day and at the end of your life. By making the changes that I'm going to mention in this video, I believe that we can all make a bigger impact, more income, and ultimately a better life for ourselves and those around us. And at the end of this video, I'm going to share my foolproof system as a creator that has helped me protect my mental health, remain consistent, and avoid things like comparison trap, overthinking, obsessing over results, fear of judgment. And let me tell you, this shit has me on cloud 9, and I cannot wait to share this process with you. But first, let's light some incense real quick. Fuck. You know, just get the vibes going. One of the small things that makes such a huge difference is just incense, man. I love it. So last week, I told you about this cruise that I went on with my family, and how on this cruise, I made it an intention to reflect on my year in 2024 and to strategize going into the new year. And one thing that stuck out to me so much is that I just feel like I wasted so much potential in the last half of the year in 2024. For the first half, I was so on it. I was consistent. I was in alignment with my purpose. And then I just fell off. And one key thing that I noticed during the fall off point is that I was so fucking distracted. First of all, if I checked social media before noon, the rest of the day, my attention was just honestly fucked. But let's say in the afternoon, something that would happen almost every single day. I would be on my MacBook working on a project for a client, even just like a personal project. And as soon as I would open up Final Cut Pro, what would happen is it would just start overheating. My computer would lag. It would flip out. I couldn't do anything. So essentially what I'd have to do is X out of Final Cut and just give it a second to cool down, and then open it again, go for another 10-minute break, X out of Final Cut, continue the process. That was the ideal way. What would end up happening is that I would notice that my computer is overheating and that it's lagging. And in between those pockets of time when I'm letting the computer cool down, what would I do? Bet you can't guess. I'd pull my phone out, open social media, and just get lost in the rabbit hole over and over and over. This vicious cycle. It was so toxic. I mean, it's no wonder why I couldn't do anything meaningful with my brand or myself in general besides go to the gym. Best part about the gym is I don't have to worry about Final Cut Pro and my computer overheating. But one key thing that I was reflecting on the cruise is that if I continue on this path, if I continue allowing distractions and blaming social media, I'm headed down a very dangerous path. And this is when I started to take my power back. I stopped blaming social media. I stopped blaming my MacBook, and I took ownership of my lack of boundaries. And I guess you can say I did take a detox because on this cruise, I had no access to the internet or service in general, but it wasn't intentional. It was kind of like an accidental detox. Like I said in the beginning, if you feel like you're deeply chained to the platforms and you have no control of your compulsions, which we're going to talk more about how to solve this issue, then I do see the benefit of doing a detox. My main point is that if we're constantly doing detoxes every month or 2 months or 3 months, then like, are we really making progress, or are we just relapsing every single time we end up downloading Instagram again? How can we create a relationship where we have the power? Detoxing is only beneficial if you come up with a solution for how you can manage your relationship with social media when you come back. That way we can build a sustainable process for ourselves. How you do anything is how you do everything. So the one thing that has truly made the biggest impact on me over the last couple weeks is becoming so obsessed with my craft. The last thing I want you to do to start off this transformation is to beat yourself up for all of your social media behaviors and your habits and all the time wasted that you spend on this app.
It's good to be strong with yourself, but beating yourself up just lowers your energy. And when your energy gets lower, you produce less, right? You don't have the same level of joy. You don't have the impact that you want to have, nor do you have the excitement that you really want to have. So the secret is find something else you obsess about more than yourself, and you'll have a level of energy that will compel you over the long term.
So the solution becomes, how can we rewire our brain to obsess over games that will make the biggest impact, the healthiest impact? You know, growing up, I was deeply addicted to video games. Honestly, don't feel like I really, truly broke that addiction up until last year. For the longest time, I used to self-sabotage all that time I wasted on Call of Duty and Rainbow Six Vegas, like literally months worth of playtime on each Call of Duty. I remember I used to wear that like a badge of honor. And then later in life, it was just like, oh my God, like how much of a fucking waste is, like, what a loser. And then I was just like, wait, hold on. Why am I talking to myself like that? It satisfied some gap in my life as a child. I was very lonely. I lived on a farm and I did not like living on a farm. So it enabled me to connect with my friends, but it also taught me the beauty of games. We can play games like Call of Duty, but we can also play games in life. Anytime I used to prestige in Call of Duty, it motivated the hell out of me to keep playing the game. It's equivalent to life. For me right now, personally, that is putting these videos out, going to the gym, staying consistent, helping my clients. These are all things that I can control. Everything else, for example, how this video does, is completely out of my control. Therefore, I'm not gonna base my sense of satisfaction, even though this is easier said than done, off of how a video performs. I'm just gonna get on to the next video. I made a whole video about this, by the way, you know, treating your life as a video game and how to gamify everything. So if you wanna watch that, you can click right here. But it's important to realize that when you're on social media, you're playing a game that somebody else is controlling. And it's not your fault that you're addicted to these platforms. The more time you spend on the platform, the better off it is for the platform. They want your dopamine to want more and more and more, because the more that your dopamine wants more of the social media app, the more that they benefit and make more money. So there's no point in blaming yourself. The actual definition of dopamine is a chemical messenger in the brain that affects movement, memory, and mood. It's also known as the feel-good chemical. I struggled understanding that, but found a lot more clarity whenever Andrew Huberman explained it in his own words. Dopamine is a neurochemical in the brain that primarily functions as a motivation molecule, keyword motivation, driving our sense of pursuit and desire to achieve goals. So going back to what I was just saying, whenever you see a video of dogs making weird noises, and it makes you laugh, you send it to your friends, you get all of these chemicals going on in your brain. Now, the reason that is unhealthy is because wasting time on social media is just gonna waste time. You're gonna waste not only time, but precious energy and dopamine, motivation that can be used towards more meaningful tasks, like your craft, your clients, making a better offer for your business, making the next video, having more ideas, having the energy to create those ideas. You see where I'm going with this? Another example of unhealthy dopamine is gambling. It promotes you sacrificing other things in your life, like sleep, so that you can continue playing the game. Especially when you lose money, you're like, oh, I gotta make it back. And that's kind of how it is with social media. You get one really hilarious reel, and then you swipe through 5 more and you're like, not funny, not funny, not funny. You're like, I gotta get that fucking feeling of satisfaction back. The feel good chemical. The thing with dopamine is that your bar for dopamine raises and raises and raises as you go on throughout the day. So this cat video might make you laugh, but if you see another cat video that's just like that one, it's not as funny as it initially was. You need like a higher dose of dopamine in order to satisfy yourself. So you keep yearning for that higher win, that higher bet. If you can't tell, I could talk about this shit all day. A couple weeks ago, I was talking to my friend about this because we were just relating with each other on how social media just had this control over us. He was telling me how whenever he is on social media and he logs off of social media, he just feels like so depleted. Like there's no energy to do anything else. Go to the gym? Hell no. Work on some business task? Nah. Go on a walk or a run? Hell no. I'm just gonna sit here and think about how miserable I'm feeling and then just pull social media back out just to get to the end of that session and realize you feel even worse than you did before. It's crazy how this shit plays on our mind, isn't it? We're all gonna fall off at some point, and it's important to give ourselves grace when that happens because ironically, the day that I decided to pick this idea for this video, for some reason, I just had a not so great relationship with social media that day. This was the first day out of the whole year that I feel like I was stepping back into how I was last year. And I made this note. I was in the fucking bathtub trying to read the book that I'm reading, to step away from social media to kind of regain my mental health. And this is literally what I wrote down. Literally reading right now is so difficult because I'm so depleted. I have to read words out loud in order to grasp. I notice my eyes scattering and flickering like I'm on Molly. And that's the effect that it has on our brain. Looking at the first few sentences and having to reread it over and over and over because I had no dopamine left. I literally had to meditate. I remember I was like, okay, I can't keep forcing this. And I put the book down and I just meditated for like 5 minutes and then got back into it. If you do find yourself stepping back into it, have a mechanism for yourself. Have like a bounce back method. Maybe that is going on a walk regardless of how you feel. Just go on a 5-minute walk, take a step away, leave your phone inside. Maybe meditate, sit with yourself, sit with your breath. Maybe call a friend, get that sense of community by actually conversating with somebody that you are connected with on a deep level. I think one fallacy about social media is that we feel like we're connected to everybody, but it's not like a meaningful connection to everybody. You're just like tapping through and like keeping up with the Joneses. It doesn't make you feel good, does it? Man is pushed by drives, but pulled by values. By the way, Viktor Frankl has played a huge impact on my life, helping me understand the meaning of life and how to persist through extremely difficult times, in his case, literally the worst of all, being a Holocaust survivor, and how he survived the mental breakdowns that come with being in the Holocaust. If you've never read A Man's Search for Meaning, this could possibly help you break your addiction to social media as well. It will teach you so much about life. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Such a good book. Anyway, man is pushed by drives and pulled by values. So the goal here is to create values for ourselves so that we can come up with boundaries to protect ourselves and our mental health from the damages of social media. Now, the one thing that has made the biggest difference for me is so simple, but it is literally the biggest hack to your productivity. Leave your phone in another room. I leave my phone in the restroom at night, so that way I don't have it on my nightstand. I leave it in another room when I know that I have to get into a deep work session. I have no choice. I need to do something. It's not even just like I need to do something. I want to get in a deep flow. I don't want to feel the desire to just tap that phone. It's so compulsive. And what's great about this when you're detached from your phone is that you enter a healthy state of boredom. Have you ever read a book, finish a chapter, and it's like, wow, I feel so good. I feel so present with myself. I feel like you're on ecstasy. And it's almost like, God, I want to read another chapter. Do I have time to read another chapter? Next, I want to share some tools and systems, environments that really help me with this process. So one of the first things that you can do is turn your phone into grayscale mode. And the benefit of this is that you're not stimulated through colors. There's no more flashy red icons. Social media is way less exciting to scroll through. Something else that I did is I finally upgraded my MacBook. Oh my God, I love this thing. It's so much faster. And you know that through all of the pain that I endured, I had to fully max this bad boy out. I can't believe how fast this thing is. I'm so grateful for this tool because it has definitely helped me skyrocket my productivity.
That motherfucker's sexy. Hold up. God damn.
But if I didn't have this MacBook and I still had the last one, I would still set my phone in another room so that whenever it does lag and I have to wait on it, my only option is to just sit there, wait in silence, maybe take a deep breath, recenter myself, open it back, and get back to work. I definitely would have been a lot more productive, and I probably would have stayed more consistent with videos. Now there's a technique, God, this instance is all over me right now. There's another technique called the Pomodoro technique. If you've watched my videos, you've heard of this before, but the Pomodoro technique is pretty simple, gamifying the process by using a timer. So what I like to do when I am using the Pomodoro technique, and usually I only do it when I'm struggling to focus, you can either do a 50-minute work pocket along with a 10-minute break. And it's very important that within that 10-minute break, you don't pull out your phone. What I typically like to do during those breaks is going on a walk. There's multiple benefits to that. You step back into nature, you feel present, you move your body, which is great for your body health, especially if you're sitting a lot, and you're getting vitamin D, which is just great for mental health. Now, for those of you who are looking for apps to help solve this problem, I have a couple recommendations. One is called the 1Sec app. Every time I open up Instagram, it forces me to wait 10 seconds before I can get access to it. If you want to take things a step further, there is another app called Opal. It limits your ability to open certain apps within certain time frames. But another thing that you can easily do that helps me is getting out of my comfort zone, going to coffee shops, going to places that inspire me and put me in a certain state of deep flow. Something about being in public and being at a coffee shop just makes me want to avoid social media. I feel like I'm in a community. I'm getting that sense of community, but I'm also seeing other people work, and it's inspiring me to like get in my own flow with deep work. And next, let's cover some things that I think is super beneficial when it comes to social media. First of all, let's unfollow all the accounts that make you feel a certain way. Like you start comparing yourself to them, you start overthinking, or they're just like entertaining you, but you're not getting anything out of it. One thing that I had to do recently was unfollow a lot of musicians. Every time I was opening Instagram, I was seeing a carousel from a musician in a recent show they did, and I'm just sitting there swiping. Literally each one is at least 15 to 20 seconds because I'm just trying to hear the song because I love house music so much. And then I realized like, dude, I'm wasting so much fucking time. Also, if you have your Instagram notifications on or any sort of notifications on for social media, even YouTube, please turn that shit off. Turn it off immediately. It is not serving you by any means. There's no benefit to staying in tune with who is liking your posts, just obsessing over results. Make it a habit to audit yourself, and also audit yourself on a daily and weekly basis. Look at how much time you spent on Instagram yesterday and use that as motivation to stay off of it if you feel like you're wasting time. Now, the next thing that I have been doing that has played a huge impact on me personally is posting and ghosting. Really want to make it a priority to be more of a producer this year than a consumer. To me, that looks like posting once a week, one YouTube video a week, one carousel a week, and one reel a week. So I'll literally post something and I won't even check it for at least a day. This helps me avoid obsessing over the results, just constantly refreshing who's liking it, who's commenting. And it also gets me straight into the next idea. As soon as I post that, I give myself just a little time to sit in that joy of actually publishing, and then I get into the next idea. This is where coming up with a system is so beneficial. If we head over to my YouTube dashboard, we'll scroll down to the content ideas section. And what you'll see is that I already have a list of content ideas just waiting to be created. If we scroll down to the creative process section, these are ideas in motion: writing, filming, editing, publishing, etc. And within each one of these ideas is its own page, so that when you are ready to bring this idea to life, you have a certain framework. You know exactly where to find all your title ideas, your thumbnail ideas. As soon as I post a video, I want to feel that dopamine again of working on something else, because I know that the more that I work on my craft, the better my life is going to get, the better I'm going to make an impact. This is the biggest hack to staying consistent as a creator. It's having a system. The best part that I really love about this template is that it's integrated with my phone. Anytime I have an idea and I'm out and about, let's say I'm at the gym, all I need to do is just open my phone up, swipe to the left, click on the favorited page, and then I just scroll down, add any notes I don't know, just gonna write something random. As soon as I'm done with that, I just X out of it and I get back to doing my workout. And this allows me to stay in flow, be present with the gym. It keeps me off of social media. It keeps me off of like getting that dopamine rush from doom scrolling. And that is the biggest hack to managing your relationship with social media. And if you want to check out Dreamflow operating system, there's so much more to the template. You can find more details in the description. There's a link there for you. It shows you everything that the template can do. So if that sounds exciting to you, go check it out. And I'm telling you, when you do this and you start really improving your relationship and your habits with social media, you're going to feel more present. You're going to feel more connected with yourself. You're going to be more productive. You're going to have a higher sense of satisfaction. You're going to have better relationships because chances are you'll be spending more time actually hanging out with people or calling your best friend. You'll make a bigger impact. You'll feel self-aligned, less stress, less worry, less FOMO, ultimately be at more peace and solitude and filled with joy. I hope you found a lot of value from this. Don't forget to check out the Dreamflow operating system. There's also that video I mentioned earlier about treating your life like a video game. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to connect on Instagram, my handle is at ashton_t_joe, and I will see you next week. Bye.